Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about basically Ultra Vegito. I wanted to talk a little bit about how he is, doing, how he feels a little bit further on, and also talk about his team, or this team that I built for this kind of proud match kind of meta. Now, firstly, I think Future's always been a strong category in Legends. It's always kind of getting frequent buffs. It's always sitting in a good position, team build wise. I think for most of the units, they tend to function really, really well. Like, I think they really do tend to hold their own a lot. They get frequent Zenkais and boosts, indirectly a lot of the time. Like, for example, the red Trunks, he boosts red Vegeta clan, and that kind of applies to Future, right? But like the thing is Future's always getting those kind of buffs, and I think for me, it's one of those categories or team categories that remains quite stable or relatively consistent in the meta. Most of the time, you have the ability to run a relatively strong Future team if you've been keeping up with it. Now, for me, Red Vegito, continues to still be a great unit. There's a lot that really makes him quite strong, but to list off kind of the main things in regards personally to Red Vegito, he's got that, removal of the dodge right in the beginning. The vanishing gauge, no longer being a part is a very big component. Then, he also has that ability to build his Rising Rush super quickly. So he has the ability to really just kind of build his Rising Rush at like a super high speed, get his Rising Rush off, and just cause a ton of problems for the opposition. And then, of course, he's got that AoE special ultimate card that does very big damage to the opposition as well. And then his green card is great, being able to intercept both tap attacks, blast attacks, and physical attacks, which is really powerful, setting him up for easy openings. And then he finally has obviously his ability that when he defeats an enemy, he then immediately refills his vanishing gauge, which is, again, very, very impressive, because what it does is essentially it kind of, essentially allows him to constantly keep pressure on the opposition. Now, in the meta, or in the current meta, obviously blue units, there are a couple decent blue units, but there hasn't really been a major blue unit outside of Janemba that outwardly counters him massively. There are blue units that do give him a lot of issues, but I wouldn't say he's directly countered by a lot of units. I will say that his teams aren't necessarily getting so many buffs in the recent. So if Future hasn't got anything in a little while, and also, of course, I guess Fused Fighters / God Key hasn't really got anything too major either. The Ultra MUI Goku isn't so much a companion that works too well with him, although they do have some relative synergy together. So I will say, for me, that definitely I think, when it comes to like the Future team and Red Ultra Vegito, I think they're still in a good position. I think Red Ultra Vegito still has a very significant impact on the fights as a unit, and I think he still has a very good position in fights as a unit. He still has the ability to make an impact on the gameplay. Definitely causes your opponent some problems, some matchup problems, and I think, it definitely is a unit that can cause players to have a little bit of an issue, so to say. Now, with that being said, obviously, if we're talking strictly speaking about, the Future team, I think Future also is one of those teams that looks like it could do well in this Pride matchup lineup. As you guys know, the Pride matchup rule set has changed team building a little bit. Players are more incentivized to have, I don't want to say just 3 good units, but like maybe 4 good units, or even 5 units, or at least 4 units with maybe a flexi pick. to help with counteracting team building, because you're going to be facing the same opponent 2, maybe even 3 times. And Future feels like it's still in a decent position as a team to facilitate that. You still have some really strong units. Aleph Yellow Gohan has fallen off a tiny bit, but it still has a lot of great utility. The blue sparking Zamasu that you see me using as well very often also has a lot of great utility. Another one that just basically really is excellent at disrupting the opponent and causing a lot of damage. Ultra Goku Black definitely feels like the one that's fallen off the most from his position, but still is a great source of counteracting a lot of those blue units that could potentially give Ultra Vegito a bit of an issue. So obviously Goku Black does feel really good from that perspective. I will say for me, when I look at maybe ultimately Goku Black in a real sense, I think he is probably the unit I would say lets down the team the most in general. Not so much due to any specific reason, but just because he feels a little bit too lightweight ultimately when it comes to being able to dominate the game. He just feels like he's lacking a little bit from the general dominance kind of thing. I think for me ultimately the Future Saga could deal or do with one more heavy hitter, so to say. Maybe someone that can really just kind of get in there and dish out some really big damage, because especially now with how powerful some green cards are, Red Super 17 has a very dominant green card, and when you look at the units, even like Ultra Vegito, who has a very incredibly dominant green card, I definitely think being fragile feels a lot worse than it ever has in Legends. For me at least, being fragile does feel bad in Legends. I can immediately feel when I have more of a glass cannon kind of unit, and I think for me that definitely feels like way more evident now than it ever did before, because for me, before, I had a glass cannon unit, but it felt like they could take a hit or survive a combo. Nowadays, with the way units can combo and the way damage can just occur out of nowhere, and with the huge spiking damage that characters can do, it just does really feel like we are not able to carry the load of glass damage characters or glass cannon damage dealing characters. And so it does feel a little bit kind of limiting or of a hindrance to actually carry these characters as a payload for our team. Ultimately, that's just how it feels, at least to me. So I do think Future maybe struggles with that. Outside of Red Vegito, you don't have overtly tanky-ish damage dealers or damage dealers that aren't prone to getting burst. And I think Blue Sparking Zamasu really helps with that. I think the yellow Future Gohan helps with that, although his Zenkai could be something that's really, really pivotal towards boosting this team, and I think it could come as a good time right now, even though there are a couple reds that are dominant. I do think getting a boost for yellow Future Gohan probably would be a great decision, as Future does feel like it needs a tankier unit that can maybe dish out some special damage. Not necessarily saying that he is absolutely 100% necessary, but I do think Future does maybe need something like that as a unit. But again, with that being said, I still really do like the Future team. It still feels good enough to run, if not maybe a little bit incoherent. I obviously don't have the yellow LF Vegeta and Trunks unit as well, which could potentially help out this team. But yeah, I think right now, as it stands, I would probably say that this team feels good. I would probably say this team feels good. Ultra Vegito definitely still feels very solid in the meta. I don't see an issue with him at all. So he definitely feels nice and solid in this meta, in a good position, very strong. And then I think from there it's just going to be a little bit dependent on, you know, how much you like the other units. But I think for me right now, definitely I would say the lack of another damage dealing option is possibly an issue, just due to just the way matches are going right now. Like, I do think it is something that could be a bit of an issue, at least overall. With that being said though, I do think that ultimately at the end of the day, yeah, Future Saga is in a good place, or Future Tag is in a good place. But I do think that there is, I don't want to say this limitation, but there is, it does kind of feel like it's missing a piece now. Whereas before I'd say it was very complete, maybe about 3 months ago with Ultra Vegito. Definitely feels like it's missing a piece now. But Ultra Vegito himself feels very good, and yeah, I'm quite happy with his overall position, performance, and just viability as a unit. I do think he's really quite viable, and yeah, he still has a very strong presence in a PvP match. Like, I feel like the opponent has some issues when I'm playing with him, which I think ultimately is what you want from your ultras, but especially from your big time ultras, from your big celebrations. And yeah, I do think that it's very important. But yeah, that's basically it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the team. But yeah, that's basically gonna be it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching. It's always appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care, stay safe, leave a like if you are interested, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.